Whatever you have learned back home, whatever worked for you back home would not work here. It's a different market. And again, it's applicable everywhere. The resume I have now, if I use the same resume for US, it's not going to work because
What are some of the top pieces of advice that you would like to share with international students or prospective students or immigrants, especially now when you get to meet and talk to a lot of students through your Empower that we will discuss as well? Or if I put it in a way that what do you think international students or immigrants lack in terms of like resumes, cover letters, or networking? If you can share that as well.
so my advice to skilled immigrants or skilled people who are trying to immigrate here would be first start networking the right way, right? And think about networking in two things. First, network with people in the same position as you, because but in Canada, because they have done or are doing the position that you want to do here. So they are the ones who will be able to make you understand the work they do, the demands that are here, the kind of clients they face, the kind of issues they are, and also the kind of skills you need to do that job, right? So that's your per se gateway into understanding your role and actually making your resume that way. So just don't focus on networking with hiring managers. Talk to people in the same position. They will help you much more than a hiring manager. So that will be my first advice is network with people within the same position as yourself and start early. Second thing would be really, really invest your time and effort into building up a good resume and cover letter. Whatever you have learned back home, whatever worked for you back home would not work here. It's a different market. And again, it's applicable everywhere. The resume I have now, if I use the same resume for US, it's not going to work because it's a different industry. You have to understand that it's a different way of hiring. So build up your resume and your cover letter according to the market and actually strategize your, or what we say, modify your resume for each and every job you apply. I know it's time consuming, but if you do it in the right way, you'll know how to optimize your resume. It'll become easier the more you understand the market. So put some time into understanding how the hiring happens, what is ATS, how are the online systems, what are different kind of resume, and have fun with it. Like that's what I think. People make one resume and stick with it until they die, right? Like change it up. If one thing didn't work, let it be. Let's make a new resume. Let's try this one. If that's not working, let's try a different one. Because again, because I do this now with my startup, is resumes look different for each kind of situation, right? If you're a new student, it will look different. If you are an experienced person, it will look different. If you're trying to transition from one industry to another, it will look different. If you are trying to get a promotion, it will look different. So think about what you're trying to do, get some clarity, and then is when switch your resume styles and have some fun with it, and never extend your resume more than one page. Every time I see a two-page resume, no one has time for it. Like you have 10 seconds to gather attention. If you can tell someone in 10 seconds what you are, that's all they need to know. So that's I would say is the second thing is really invest a lot of time and research into your resume. And then the third thing I have to say, and it's not very technical thing, and I think it's applicable both to students and to skilled immigrants, is stop thinking that you are at a disadvantage. I think once you start thinking that, what happens are two things. One thing is you subconsciously associate each and every failure you have to you being not from here, right? You say that every time you didn't get an interview or you got an interview or you didn't land that job, you say to yourself, I didn't get it because I'm not from here, right? That takes away from you learning what actually went wrong. Because I can tell you that if you have the skill set and if you have what it takes to get that position, no one cares where you come from. My company, for 4 years, the people I worked with didn't even know I was a student, international student before. They thought I grew up here because they don't care. You know, they are not responsible for our immigration, how it is in US, right? Because in US, your employer is responsible for your immigration. So it's different there. But here they're not. So they don't really care. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to get you anything except for you doing the job. So stop thinking about that and actually start questioning, what am I doing wrong in the job search process? What skill set am I lacking? What can I change in this? What did I say in this interview? Can I say it in a different way? Ask for feedback during your interview. So stop putting that I'm at a disadvantaged place, take it out of your mind. And then the second thing I have to say is that just because something worked for someone doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I see a lot of, we have this tendency to just follow advices without questioning, right? We say like, oh, he said that to me. Oh, this worked for this person, so I'm going to do it the same way. I find similar with immigration. A lot of people question me and being like, oh, my friend said that this is not going to happen. So I'm like, so you accepted that. You didn't research like we have Google that and read everything you can and then make a decision. We rely so much on what people say, and we do not rely on our gut feeling, on what we can research, because we don't want to invest that time, right? We're like, why do I need to read for 2 hours when I can just go call up someone and ask? And we think we have more confidence in someone else's advice rather than our own gut feeling, because again, we think they know what they're talking about, but at the same time we don't know what we're talking about. Someone else doesn't either. They just talk, right? You just think they're talking with confidence, and that means they know what they're talking about, but we don't question it. And that's so wrong. So like, every advice you get, the more advice you get, the more confused you're going to be. So go to people who actually know what they're doing. So in that case, if you're going for job search, go to career coaches, go to HR managers, go to recruiters, and their advice is maybe something I'll listen to because they have done this for a living. But someone else who has, just gotten a job and say, okay, I am the expert in getting a job, don't listen to them. So start doing your own research and rely on yourself, and don't fixate yourself. The more we become rigid to change, and the more we are like, oh, this is how it worked back home, and this is what I did, and then being like, oh, it doesn't work for us, we have to step down, we have to settle, this is how it is. The moment you accept that, everybody else is there to make that happen, right? Like, no employer would come to you and say like, hey, you deserve a better position, let me give you a better position. No one will do that. No one will be like, oh, you're asking for 40K, no, you deserve 60, let me give you 60K. It is not going to happen. So you are the one who has to actually figure out where are you, what do you deserve, and then work from there, and stop asking for your hiring managers or someone who's in a position to hire you to figure out where you stand. And I think the moment you realize what your value is, that's when your job search will become easier, because you'll understand which direction you're heading towards, rather than aimlessly applying because you just want to settle for a job. So I think that's all advices I can give to students and skilled immigrants coming here.
Wow, that's amazing. There are a lot of things to unwrap and a lot of great information down the pike. Thank you so much, Ramneet, for your time for both the videos on this Sunday morning on your day off. I wish you all the best and a lot more success to your team Empower. If you want to tell us a little bit about that as well, that would be great.
Sure. So Empower is actually a community-driven organization. We were a non-for-profit for 2 years, but we have recently transitioned into a startup. So what we do at Empower, it's an organization made by all international students. So all three of us who are the founding members were international students, but now have transitioned. So what we do are three things. We do create webinars in which our partnership with all different kind of companies. Recently, we had RBC on them. We have colleges, universities who are our partners. So we bring in workshops to bring those people to you so that you get a chance to network, industry experts who come in and actually share their advice. As I was saying, you want to listen to the industry experts. So we bring in the people who are doing that job, who are already doing, in the market, and bring them there to share their experiences, give their advices, be it industry specific, be it HR managers or anything like that. So that's the first set of things we do. Second, we have a Slack community, which is like a Facebook group, but on a Slack app. Right now, we have about 700 members there. They're all international students, mentors, people who are working in the industry. So it's a place for you to network. We have different channels. We have channels for immigration. We have channels for job search, resume reviews, resource sharing. If you need advice, we have that channel as well. It's basically a place for you to communicate with people who are in a similar or were in a similar position as yours, and just look for mentors, do your networking. We do random coffee matches every month. So, this is your chance to network and actually become a part of a community somehow. And then the third thing we do, and which is our latest product, is a job search boot camp, which is a 7-day job search boot camp, which talks about everything on how to, research the Canadian market, how do you understand your brand, your position, your skill set, then how do you write a resume and cover letter that goes with it, and then how do you network, and then the ending part is how do you actually take it forth and manage your job search into, how do you maintain your network in the long term. And the instructors of this course are all hiring managers, recruiters. So you learn from the experts, again, as I said, and you get a one-on-one time with them as well because you're their student. So that is something we're currently working on, and you can find us on our website, on LinkedIn, Instagram. We are active everywhere. And yeah, it's basically a place we've created where international students can help the future or former international students, and we can grow as a community and, again, never settle, and actually understand where we are and how we can go forth and take out this disadvantaged place, and create a future in Canada.